What is up, guys, and welcome back to the channel. Guys, somebody sent me this video, and y'all know I definitely had to check it out because y'all know I recently just had surgery, and I'm on week 2, going on week 3. I'll be at week 3 this Thursday, and if y'all seen my video, I have a video just explaining and showing y'all how much I had to pay for my surgery here in the United States, which was ridiculous. Had knee surgery and seemed like everything was pricey, especially once it got to the surgery operation. That's when those numbers just blew me away. It was different. It was definitely different. But we finna check out Portugal. My guy had surgery in Portugal, and this is his American experience with healthcare in Portugal, which I think is cool because I started thinking, I said, man, I should have flew with a broken knee across the country just to get fixed up, at a reasonable price. But we finna check this out, see what it's about. Y'all hit that subscribe button, send down those recommendations. Let's jump into this.
Hey guys, it's Amon from Our Rich Journey, and do I have a story to tell? 8 weeks ago, I tore my Achilles tendon playing basketball. One of the most devastating injuries.
Very devastated. I mean, I don't know if I might have talked about it, but I actually tore both of my Achilles playing basketball. I had surgery on the one, and the other one I just let it grow back on its own. But that injury different. But I ain't gonna lie, my process with that injury was better than the process that I did tearing my patella tendon in my knee. It's horrible. It feels horrible.
That you can have to your leg. Now, an injury like this, the average person doesn't get out of their cast for 6 to 12 weeks, and they don't start walking for quite some time after that. Now, I live here in Portugal, and the reason why I'm sharing this story is because I want to talk about the medical attention that I've gotten here in Portugal after going through such a devastating injury. Because here I am at week number 8, and I am already walking. In fact, I feel like things are getting back to normal. And that is in large part because of the healthcare system here in Portugal. So not only do I want to talk to you guys about my experience thus far with this injury, but I also want to share with you my experience going through a major health catastrophe here in Portugal. And so for anyone that is thinking about moving to Portugal, retiring early to Portugal, I think this is a video that is going to be very helpful for you. Now, my wife and I retired.
No, that's definitely different because 8 weeks, not bad. I think I was walking by. I know I had my cast on. Once I had surgery, I had to have that cast on for like 2 weeks, I think. And then had to get back in the booth for another 2 weeks. I think I was walking by 6-7 weeks. 6-7 weeks. But that just depends. Like most people, I was still young, determined. So I was still working out and stuff, just trying to strengthen my leg. There was still some stiffness once I was able to put on my shoe. But I was just happy to be walking and stuff again. But these injuries, man, it's a long process. It's very long, but
I think this is a video that is going to be very helpful for you. Now, my wife and I retired.
Hold on, what they do?
I think this is a video that is going to be very helpful for you. Now,
let's go retired using fire method. Fire, man. I need to track this method out.
My wife and I retired early at age 39 and moved here to Portugal in large part because of the amazing healthcare system. And so to have an injury like this, it has been a real test of our decision to move here. So to tell this story,
it's crazy because don't it seem like when you go to something new, move to something new, something happen. It's always something.
Have to start at the beginning. You see, our family loves basketball. Our oldest daughter, Sanoa, she plays for a local basketball team, a club team, and that team recently started an adult league. So that adult league is a 35 and older adult league, and it's made up mostly of the dads of the kids that play for the club team. So recently we have been practicing and we have been playing short scrimmages in that league. And during one of our scrimmages, one of our first scrimmages, I got this injury.
Oh, man.
You see, it couldn't have been more than a minute into the game. And I caught the ball, all of a sudden did a move, and I heard a pop. If you ever hear anyone talk about their Achilles injury, it always feels like someone hit them in the back of their leg with some kind of stick. And that is exactly what happened to me. When I heard the pop, I immediately turned around and there was no one behind me, but I felt like someone kicked me from behind.
Man, this bringing back a lot of, man, I remember that feeling. I don't know. I wish I could speak to him, but I don't know if he ever felt, cause it just seemed like the day just feel different. I don't know what it is. Like the day I tore my Achilles, like the day just felt off to me, And then I was doing good hooping and all that stuff, and then I caught the ball and I just froze. I just froze. I just stood there, had a wide open layup. Then all of a sudden, I was just like, oh. Then I decided to go. Then pop, went straight down. I said, well, I'm finna go to the hospital, guys. I just tore my Achilles. I'll see y'all in 6 weeks. I said, or 6 months. I said, I'll see y'all in 6 months because it takes time to really fully heal. But, man, that's how I feel. He's speaking facts. That's how I feel for sure, man.
This was the same experience Kevin Durant had, Kobe Bryant, Klay Thompson. They all experienced tearing their Achilles and having this same sensation. So when I felt the pop and turned around and realized no one was there, I knew immediately what had happened. I knew that I tore my Achilles. Now, immediately, everyone surrounded me. They tried to get me to stand up. Oh, what's wrong? It's probably just... No, I said, you guys need to take me to the hospital right now because I think this is major. So immediately, I went to the emergency room. And at the emergency room, they confirmed it. Now, I was devastated because I understand how serious an injury this is and how long it takes to recover. And of course, I was on my phone researching all of the different options and listening to all of the stories about people that had torn their Achilles and their recovery process. So when I sat down with the doctor said I had a couple of options. One option was surgery, and in fact, they could get me into surgery within a couple of days. My other option was to try to get the tendon to heal on its own. My tear was about 2 centimeters, and so if they put me in a cast right away and brought the tendons together as close as possible, I had a very good chance of healing without surgery. And so that night, I went home, I did some more research, and I thought harder about what I should do. And one of the things that I decided to do was talk to a couple of other doctors. And so the next day, I called up my insurance company. And if you guys are curious about our insurance, we have private insurance here in Portugal, but we also have access to the public and private hospitals. But I called up my private insurance and I asked them what were my options as far as talking to surgeons about this injury. And they put me in contact with several orthopedic surgeons that could help me make the decision. So the first orthopedic surgeon, his recommendation was that I immediately have surgery. Now, I had been doing a lot of research on my own, and I knew that there were 2 schools of thought when it comes to the Achilles recovery. Some doctors prefer just to go right into surgery. But more and more research has come out recently that has found that you don't necessarily need to have surgery for an injury like this.
And you don't, because like I said, when I tore mine the first time, I tore mine on my left foot, my left leg, and they said it was completely ruptured. Like they were like, it's so filled with blood, like you need to have surgery. You'll be all right. You're still young, and you will heal. You're gonna recover faster because you're young. You know what I'm saying? But the second time, I was getting ready to go to New York for my brother's graduation, and I was like, you know what? I do not want to go back under a knife, under anesthesia, and all that stuff, and get cut up again. So I said, you know what? I'm just going to take my time, let it heal on its own because I experienced this already. So I let it heal on its own and, slowly but surely I was still able to get around, still able to do certain things. And it's crazy because day by day, week by week, I start feeling my tendon like growing back, attaching itself right back. Of course I had a boot on. It was kind of elevated, keeping it there. But it's crazy because you can feel that space. When I took my boot off, I could feel that space. Then like weeks went by, I started feeling that it's attaching. It was almost like venom. It was like venom for a minute. But and then a year went by after I did that, and I noticed my leg was still weak. I didn't notice until I tried to stand on my tippy toes. Then I really started focusing again, strengthening my leg, my tendon, because I couldn't even walk on my tippy toes, and I didn't realize it because nobody just ever just go around the house walking on your tippy toes. So,
in fact, your tendon can heal on its own. So after talking to that first doctor, I decided to get a second opinion. And so I made an appointment with another surgeon. And when I went to see that second surgeon, I talked with him all about my options. And one of the things that he said immediately was that you don't need to do surgery for this. In fact, I think it will heal on its own if we can put you in a boot right away and go through a certain protocol. Now, I had a ton of questions about the protocol, the process. What are the chances of me re-rupturing my
Achilles? The chances of re-rupturing it, it's like maybe a 10% difference. I think when you have surgery, it's like 15. Then when you don't have surgery, it's like 20 something.
And he answered every single question. Now, mind you, we live here in Portugal, and some of you may be wondering whether or not we had this conversation in English or in Portuguese. Well, my Portuguese isn't good enough to have a conversation like this. So I was so happy that the doctor was fluent in English and was able to explain everything to a detail. So after weighing both options, I decided to go with the non-surgical route. And 8 weeks later, I am so glad that I went with that particular route.
That's good.
Now, I'm not saying that
I feel like the surgery I think it make it longer because now you have to heal on the inside and outside versus no surgery, you just healing on the inside, you know?
Everyone should go this route, but for me, it's a route that worked best. So I know I'm going to get a lot of questions about the healthcare process, about the expenses. So I want to talk a little bit about the expenses that I had up to this point before I started my Achilles recovery protocol. So when I went to the emergency room, when I had the consultations with the doctor, how much did all of that cost? What did my insurance cover? What was I responsible for coming out of my pocket? Well, see, when I went to the emergency room, I went to the public hospital emergency room. And that particular visit was absolutely free.
Nice.
Now, I know for a lot of Americans, as soon as you walk into the emergency room, it's like $200 immediately. Well, here in Portugal, there's a public healthcare system that is essentially free. There may be some minor costs that you have to pay, but for most emergency room visits, that visit is free.
Good.
Now, the subsequent consultations with my doctors, my private healthcare insurance covered that all. Now, we did a video all about our healthcare insurance here in Portugal, and so I'll leave a link to that video in the description below. But just to let you know, for 1 year of insurance for our entire family of 4, we pay about $1,600 for the entire year.
Okay, that's not too bad.
So as far as costs, everything up to this point was either free because we're part of the public healthcare system or was covered by my private insurance when we went for the private consultations with the doctor.
I think $1,600 a year, that's not bad if you think about it, especially for a whole family, because it's probably $1,600 here in the States. You're probably paying that within 3-4 months, every 3-4 months.
So now let's get back to my decision to not go into surgery.
That would have been more money with the surgery.
Working with this doctor, I decided to go what's called the conservative route, where I immediately put my foot in a boot and I follow a protocol to let the Achilles heal on its own. So at this point, I was in week 1 and the protocol was for me to be in a boot for 6 weeks. Now, I have to back this up for a moment because this was the start of the summer. And summer here in Portugal, well, really, that's my favorite time of the year. That's when we go to the beach, to the lake. And in fact, this summer, Christine and I were hosting a huge meetup where we invited over 150 of our students here to Portugal to hang out with us for 4 days. Well, I was going to be in the boot over that entire period. But my doctor assured me that everything would be fine. I could put weight on my boot. In fact, he encouraged me to not use the crutches and to stand on the boot as much as possible. It would stimulate the Achilles and help the healing process.
And that's why, like, even with my knee, like, I did a lot of walking. Even when my boot, I think when I did the no surgery route, a week later, we was at my brother's graduation in New York. So I'm on the plane with this boot. I'm walking around Manhattan. We walked around for like 2 or 3 hours. I'm walking all through New York in a boot. I said that had to have sped it up because that made my legs even stronger, but I was so tired. That boot heavy. I don't know if he's going to talk about it, but that boot is very heavy.
Boot as much as possible. It would stimulate the Achilles and help the healing process. And so throughout the summer, for the first 6 weeks, I was in this boot. I was going to the beach, going to the lake, hanging out with 150 of our students here in Portugal, and just trying to live life as normal as possible. And I have to give a very special shout out to my family because they did as much as possible to make sure that my spirits were up. Now, if you know me, you know that I am usually a very positive person. But after having an injury like this, my spirits were slowly starting to drop. I started to think about all of the things that I was going to miss out on. But thankfully, my family was there to keep my spirits up, keep me going out, just keep me engaged. And then when all of our students came here to Portugal, just being around them, I feel like it sped up my recovery because I was around people and they gave me energy and enthusiasm, and I think it really helped me heal a lot faster.
That definitely make a difference. It take your mind off of, because I know after my knee surgery, the day after my knee surgery, or 2 days after, was my birthday. And on my birthday, I was in so much pain, but everybody still came over and stuff, and that helped me out a lot because like I wasn't focused on the pain, and my leg was just healing. I felt like my leg was healing, and slowly, that pain was going away and stuff. But God, that's the worst pain ever. That was probably, this birthday was different because that pain was different. I ain't felt that in a long time.
And so for 6 weeks, I was in this boot. And at the end of those 6 weeks, I went to go see my doctor, and he gave me a thorough exam, and he said, the Achilles has reattached and you can start rehab. And I was so excited because it meant the protocol was working. The advice of my doctor was sound. I mean, I was nervous at first because so many people do surgery, and I decided to do the conservative route, which more and more people are actually starting to do. And so when he told me that my Achilles had reattached, that I could start walking on it, that I could start physical therapy, I was so excited. And he also noted that my recovery was going relatively fast. And something else that I was doing with the boot is that I was still going to the gym. I would do as many workouts as I could with my leg, with my toes. Of course, I was still trying to work the rest of my body that wasn't injured because all of this physical stimulation attributes to the healing of my Achilles. So this brings me to the rehabilitation process that I have been undergoing for the past 2 weeks. After talking to my doctor, he prescribed to me rehab. And now I know that rehab in the US can be very, very expensive. And when you are able to
did rehab, I still got about 3 more weeks before I start rehab, but I already know it's gonna be pricey.
Rehab in the US can be very, very expensive. And when you are able to rehab, you don't go every single day. Well, that was not the case here for me in Portugal. In fact, my doctor prescribed rehab with a physio every single day. So every single day, except for the weekends, I go and see a physical therapist for 1 hour a day. The physical therapist is amazing because they start each session with a thorough deep tissue massage of my Achilles. Then afterwards,
that's probably the best feeling when I went to rehab. But that's probably the best thing ever right there, that massage. Oh my gosh.
With a thorough deep tissue massage of my Achilles. Then afterwards, we do a number of rehabilitation exercises to strengthen the Achilles. So this has been amazing. To go to rehab every single day has certainly sped up my recovery. I know that this is a benefit that people that live in the US certainly do not have. You'd have to be a professional athlete to be able to go to a physical therapist every day and condition your injury the way my physical therapist has been doing it here in Portugal. Or you'd have to be uber rich because your health insurance is not going to cover this type of rehabilitation. So going every single day, I want to talk about the costs. Now, I have private health care insurance. And like I said, we pay $1,600 a year for that insurance. And my insurance covers my rehab, but only up to a certain point. Out of pocket, I am responsible for paying $110 for each session. Not $110, not 110 euros, but $1.10. That
I need to go rehab in Portugal. What in the world? $1.10? I need to catch a flight so I could go.
$10, not 110 euros, but $1.10. That is amazing. This is probably one of the reasons why you should run to Portugal if you are in need of healthcare. Because to only pay $1.10 for rehab every single day, for a deep tissue massage, for all of the rehabilitation equipment, for all of these facilities, and I'm only paying $1.10 for rehab. It makes you question why healthcare is so expensive in places like the US, and they're able to do it here for such an affordable price. And so here I am at week number 8, and I am walking, and every day I feel stronger and stronger. In fact, Christina and I and the kids,
Man.
we are about to get on a plane and go to London for the next 2 weeks. We have so many
That's
exciting
nice.
things that we are going to be doing up there. And then after we're done with London, we're going to come back to Portugal, hang out for a couple more weeks, and end our summer with a 10-day trip in Dubai.
Wow.
You see, even though I'm hurt at the moment, I'm not 100%.
You're not letting that stop him, can't you? Know, sometimes you get down, but you can't stay down.
You see, even though I'm hurt at the moment, I'm not 100%. All of this activity, all of this energy that I'm getting from being out and about and being around people, I think is helping my recovery.
Yeah.
So if there's anyone out there that is dealing with any type of medical issue, one of the things that is so important is that you keep your spirits up.
Facts.
I feel like that is a big part of the recovery. And so keep your head up and stay positive. So that is my healthcare update and my Achilles update from Portugal. I'm going to keep you guys posted on my progress. But if you really want to see how I'm holding up, make sure you follow us on Instagram. Like I said, over these next couple of weeks, next couple of months, we are going to be doing a lot of traveling and we're going to be sharing a lot of that over on Instagram. So make sure you follow us there. And so if you guys have liked this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel, and join the journey.
This was good. This was good, man. I definitely can relate. Definitely can relate. At least on the end, on the part of that Achilles, man. That Achilles is different. That it is different. Like he said, thankfully you're able to skip the surgery process. You know, like I said, I had surgery because mine was completely ruptured. The first time, the second time, I was able to let it heal on its own, and man, it's different. But the healthcare, the rehab, $1.10, like that's still. I'm like, man, I might need to get on a flight. I haven't started rehab yet, so I might need to catch a flight somewhere. Just pack my stuff and go, so I can have affordable rehabilitation for my knee. But man, this is different. This is different, man. But and like he said, like how much they pay for at least private healthcare for the year. In the U.S., you're probably paying $1,600 every 3-4 months. Like, no joke, for a family. You know, I feel like it's like $500, $600 a month, depending on the company you work at. And then, too, you know, they base it on the company you work at. So it could be more some places, it could be less some places. But all in all, like, you paying $1,600 every 3 to 4 months, which is double to triple for that whole year. But this was good. I appreciate you guys for sending me this recommendation. Y'all make sure y'all hit that subscribe button. Send out more recommendations. And y'all be blessed, be the best, and be you. I'm out.